Can you claim car parking, toll roads, congestion charges? Let's have a look. Hi, I'm Kimberly Shapcotts, qualified chartered accountant, property investor and entrepreneur. Let's sit down and have a chat. Parking fees, congestion zone charges, toll fees, are they allowable for business purposes? Well, yes, they really are. However, the one key thing and the one key phrase we have to keep repeating here is wholly, necessarily and exclusively for business purposes. So if you are travelling to your investment area and you are having to park your car to go and do viewings, park your car to go and see letting agents, estate agents, banks, accountants, whoever it may be, you're having to pay parking, then yes, you can claim those expenses as an allowable expense. And if you're travelling into places like London or other cities which have congestion charges and it's for business purposes, then yes, you will be able to claim those charges. And again, if you are travelling on toll roads or over toll bridges to get to your location, again, yes, these are allowable expenses. So what evidence do you need to keep? Well, for some of these, that's easier said than done, and I do appreciate that. But ideally, you want to be keeping your receipts. So for most car parking or even congestion zone and things like that, you'll be able to download a receipt or an email will show how much you have paid. That is the most ideal situation where you are paying for things. However, I do appreciate that is always not possible. So the other side of things is if you're paying it through a card or through a bank statement, that expense will show on your bank account, on your credit card, and that again is also a good example of how you can show the different expense has been incurred. If you are paying by cash, I would definitely say try and get some sort of paperwork, some sort of receipt. If you're using a parking machine, they'll usually give you a little ticket to put in your car. Keep hold of that as your evidence. Now, sometimes those receipts don't always say how much you've paid, so I'd just generally say write on it with a pen how much you have paid. So again, you've got the receipt to show the date, where you were, and then you've got the amount that you've written on if it doesn't show the amount, as I know sometimes these things do not. Now, ideally, you'll pay for this through your company or the rental account that you've got set up in your bit for your rental business. But I do appreciate sometimes you'll pay for these things not through the relevant bank account. So in this sort of a case, for a company, you can do an expense claim form and just detail on the expense claim form what expense you've incurred with the receipts, and then you put that into the company, which then just means that you are keeping track of those expenses. In terms of how it works, those expenses will then help reduce your tax. So when you've got your income and your expenses, this will just increase your expenses, which will then go onto your corporation tax return or your income tax return. Now, there is something to mention here about income tax because it's slightly more limited than through a company. And the reason being, in a company, if you're acting on behalf of the company, for example, going to do viewings on properties that you are intending on buying, then you can claim that as a viewing trip and you'll claim your mileage, you'll claim the car parking, the different expenses incurred to get to that location. As an individual, you can only claim for assets that you currently hold. So any speculative viewing trips are slightly more limited. So if you're going to do a viewing trip and you're paying for parking on a viewing trip, but you don't have any properties that you're actually going to visit, then this is more limited and you're probably unlikely to be able to claim it. Whereas in a company, you're going to definitely be able to claim that because it's part of your duties as a director or employee of that company. In summary, keep hold of all those receipts, keep hold of all those bits to prove the expenses that you incurred, and make sure you put them through your tax returns to claim all of the allowable expenses that you can. Hopefully you now know what you can claim in regards to your travel expenses. If you have any questions, then please do leave a comment. Please like the video and do subscribe to the channel. And let's make tax less taxing.